Hello and a very, very warm welcome of the Europe Championship game of round. Just seeing Spain beat Russia in a dramatic finish in Sochi. Now our attentions turn to Amsterdam, the capital of the Netherlands. Of course, the Netherlands is a new side in this level of European rugby competition, up against the champions, the perennial champions. But last week they drew. 20-game winning streak came to an end against Portugal a week ago. They will be licking their wounds, and they have come fully armed to do exactly that. The Netherlands still building at this level, still enjoying their time. They effectively have very, very little to lose indeed. I'm Johnny Hammond, and alongside me today, I'm very, very pleased to say, Welsh captain, former Welsh captain, Rachel Taylor is alongside. Rachel, it's a difficult one for the Netherlands. They're pleased to be back home as we watch the coin toss between the two sets of captains. But Georgia will be hurting from last week.
Isn't it? I think Georgia probably a bit shocked or a bit rocked potentially from the draw last week, and there's obviously been a few changes, but yeah, I'm sure they'll come out and they'll want to put their foot down on this tournament again and remind everyone where they are.
Yeah, and of course it's a point we'll be making throughout this entire rugby championship. World Cup places are up for grabs. Here is the fixtures coming up. Russia against Spain. We've just seen 37-39 over in Sochi, and of course today Netherlands against Georgia. Game tomorrow as well. Here is the state of play. A little bit behind the 8 ball. Spain, of course, with 2 wins now and a full 10 points. Russia with a bonus point in that game under new coach Dick Muir. Let's hear from the Georgian coach.
Game against Portugal. What do you expect from the squad today?
From squad, I'm waiting much pragmatic game, less mistakes, and play as we planned with our schedule.
How has the preparation been this week?
It was a short week, but in total it was good for us. We trained well, and we are ready to play today.
Okay, good luck.
Thank you.
Here with head coach Shane Gardiner, head coach of the Netherlands team. Shane, after last weekend's game, what do you expect from the squad today?
I think today is about Dirk Dunn, and it's his last game, so the boys really want to lift for him. So what we're going to see is some real passion out there on that field. We're at home as well, and a lot of players are excited to play against Georgia. We've got a young team out, and guys want to stake their claim for the jersey, especially with obviously Dirk now handing his jersey back after this game. So it's going to be extremely exciting. The weather's great, and we're really looking forward to what we can do out there on the field today, and focusing on those things that we took up off the Spanish game and into this week's training.
All right, thanks.
From Zane Gardner there, the Dutch coach, and he mentioned their captain, their talismanic captain. Of course, an emerging rugby nation, the Netherlands, men and women. Dirk Dannen's last appearance today as we look at the Georgian team. Lasciani, the only one in the front 5 to keep his place. Tekaliashvili comes in at 7, and in the backs, Lobanidze comes in at scrum half, and David Mashkai occupies the left wing. But it is a all-power front row for Georgia. There's no prizes for guessing where they are looking to attack the Netherlands. And there he is, a lovely moment for Dirk Dannen. And here is the side that he will be captaining today. Debutants for Spike Salmon at 7. No Blake Nightingale, he's out with the COVID restrictions. all about those back three players. T. Campbell is an ankle breaker at times. Jordy Hop as well. Nice backline. Can they get the ball? That, I suspect, is the major question today. They know how they want to play against Georgia. Spoke to Zane Garner yesterday, and I said, is it simple enough, Zane, just to say you're going to try and play around them? He said, that's exactly right. That's what you've got to do when you know physically you're outmatched by your opposition. Players lining up for the anthems. And we will have both the national anthems before a highly anticipated kick-off. Can the champions bounce back from a draw last week? Little delays at the National Stadium in Amsterdam. A little bit chilly. Georgia in the tracksuits. They will soon come off, and the fire and brimstone will start the physical nature in which they play the game. Two contrasting styles, rather like the game earlier on.
Let's hear it for Georgia!
These Dutch forwards know what's coming at them. Andrew Darlington cleared only on Thursday night. No arms hit. Ludovic Seye from France heads up this all French officials. Odd numbers to about as well. Jim Burek is wearing 26. He's in the lock position. And Caleb Kortevek, the new scrum half, 25 years of age, is wearing 24 and not 9. Here is T. Campbell. Beaten handsomely last week, weren't they, against Spain? 43 points to 0. 7 degrees. That's a nice graphic, isn't it? Letting us know about the wind and the humidity. I thought Humidity is too much for a factor in early February in Amsterdam. All set then. Georgia looking to get their feet in the stirrups, get back on the horse. Last lost in this competition, 9 March 2017 against Romania. 20 wins on the spin. To Portugal last week.
What is there?
25 points each in Tbilisi last week.
You lead line. Stay back, please.
It is a monster. Do we know that about them? They look to play in those 15-metre channels, the Neds. Go coast, try and move this big pack around. That's certainly the intention anyway, but they're just enjoying the experience. Bouzma. Early possession here. Bouzma and down that back line. Yuri Hop can't take that one. He's back in the fold.
No.
Even club man.
But he's out.
Already that intention to put that ball wide, Rachel Taylor, from the Dutch.
On you, please.
Yeah, long kick as well, wasn't it, from the kickoff? Just sort of forcing the Georgians into an exit early on, and yeah, great intention to see. You know, you've mentioned it already. They're going to want to try and turn this pack around, get them off the floor, down, and moving them around that pitch. So nice to see their intentions early.
Niashvili. Mamuka Ashvili. First Georgian to play in the English Premiership.
Il est bon, Cédric, le casquet là, 26. Okay.
The Georgian hooker. Now plays his rugby Black Lion. He's played around the place. Tbilisi, Sale, Glasgow, Montpellier, Toulon, Carcassonne, Locomotive, Leicester of late. They turned it over. The Dutch here. Van der Vaart, one of these young players really making a mark in European international rugby. The winger. Try against Romania. Two intercept tries last season as well. Did this
Wait!
Austria win.
Wait!
Getting that from the corner flags and flags around the stadium. Don't think Georgia are going to try and maul from their own 22, but I wouldn't bet against it.
Number 8.
Such is the dominance in this area.
Number 8.
Penalty, Dirk Dannon. Penalty against him. There's Mark Darlington, one of the Darlington brothers.
No, I said silent free, it's okay.
Complains to the referee.
8.
Dirk Dannon. Brilliant serve. Captain for 6 years, an absolute warrior for this Dutch side. But he's given their penalty away. Absahadzny. A couple of penalties, a couple of conversions last week for the Georgian fly half. The Breve 10.
Yeah, your mark, please. Yeah. Number, please. Okay, thanks.
Absahadzny. Just 22 years of age, diminutive figure at 5'8". Shokradze, the skipper. And physicality even down that back line for Georgia. They come back down this short side. Nice little ball inside. Khamladze. Tabatsadze, the right wing. Try
First time, okay.
Portugal.
First time, okay, 9, but after rock form.
Did have a chance late on, didn't he?
Rock form.
Tabuatsi against Portugal. Marta made a brilliant tackle for Portugal. Anyway, on to this game. Reminiscing about last week. Ill discipline at the moment from Georgia.
It's been interesting to see, hasn't it? The line speed that the Netherlands are bringing. Turned an early turnover in their first defensive set, and they've just got another award for it now. So obviously something they've been thinking of, like, can they get off that line? Can they try and chop some of these big ball carriers down before they get a bit of momentum? So obviously a bit of a set plan from them defensively. It'd be interesting to see how Georgia adapt their attack to compete with that.
The conversation with St. Garner was all about flooding channels, playing around accurate, so to limit the set piece, which they themselves struggle against, let alone against Georgia. Little tips, out balls out the back, just keep things interesting and inventive. And right on cue.
Yeah, brilliant kick there. Just, I think you've already mentioned again, like the touch of that wind, like just seeing the touch jug's flag there flapping away, and great opportunity for them to ping the Georgians back down there. They'll just have to be a bit more disciplined now. You know, they won't want to give them an easy exit.
Captain.
Yeah, the strength of the wind on the microphones around the stadium, on the referee's mic, as Amukashvili, 28th cap for his country today. Little skew whiff. Kelachonia scored the last try against Portugal, and they're breaking away. Georgia here.
Advantage, tackle without ball.
Miska, that left wing, will come back for the penalty. There's a little bit of afters going on as well on that left-hand side, and look at the back, all running in to give some assistance.
Yeah, I'm sure they've had a big conversation around the physicality they bring to this game and getting a bit of their edge back, haven't they? And probably keen to just remind Netherlands of their sort of physical dominance.
It's just a PK because number 9 without ball. But come with it, come here. After, I will calm down, okay? It's a PK, but you calm down. I reverse the PK if you do that, okay? Thanks. Number 9, push.
The scrum half, just being told to just calm things down.
Calm down, please, okay?
It's not a book big enough, isn't it, to mark down how many times a referee has told a scrum half to calm down.
Yeah, I think I'd be feeling pretty comfortable behind that pack of forwards as well.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, you wouldn't mind being a little extra chopsy, would you? Right. Jayani and Janahonia and Mamukashvili, Nirashvili.
On the line, please.
And this is meat and drink for them. Line out, it's a great kick, and they've gone down short. Mamukashvili with Nirashvili. Look, cute one round the front. And they've scored. It's as easy as that. Direct, physical, route one. Jayani, Lasha Jayani gets the opening score here for Georgia.
Ouais, non mais c'est moi qui te questionne, je me doutais, c'est bon, merci Cédric. Exactement, c'est bon, parfait.
So simple, almost too simple, wasn't it, Rachel?
Yeah, I think you're right. You know, we've said, haven't we, about the opportunities, I suppose, that this Georgian pack has with their physicality, but just nice little variation from them, I guess. You know, something little cheeky one round the front, no jump option. Obviously, all those Dutch forwards are just ready to sort of manage that counter drive, if you like, and it's just a clever one for them.
Yeah, I like that.
25.
Netherlands would have been expecting the catch and drive, wouldn't they? All set for that.
I think it shows good learnings, doesn't it, from their fixture last week as well. You know, it's funny, isn't it, when a team can compete with you, they find a blueprint on how to beat you, and it's, you know, as soon as that happens, other teams will try and do the same. So it's good from Georgia.
The side struggling with players missing, but it's a semi-professional in a professional environment. This Dutch side. Dyke, Duplessis, Blake Nightingale, Rademacher, Pete Leiden, Bloom,
Stay back.
Bart Vingegaard,
No.
Christopher Raymond,
Use it 9.
David Lindemann as well, missing today. So lots of opportunities for home-based players. Of course, playing in the Super Cup. Nice take from Versma. Kortizek flies it out, but you can see the physicality in the challenges as T. Campbell tries to weave his way right through the middle. Smart.
Use it. Stay back. Wait.
Gets a long caterpillar leg out. There's one out the top. Jordi Hop is after it for the Dutch. The counter drive it and it squirted out. Where's this one bobbling around now? Big in goal areas here in Amsterdam. Just about run that ball out.
Stay back. Stay back, please.
For Georgia.
Use it 9. Stay back. Wait.
They have another chance though. Jordi Hop. Now they go wide. Certainly wider. Sialua. See when they try to take Georgia on physically, there's 4 Dutch players in there to 2 Georgians. Yes, there's the game in a nutshell.
Stay back.
Versma. A Welsh legend once told me, you've got to earn the right to go wide. He's not wrong, is he, Mr. Jan Evans? Smart. Fialua. Just running very, very hard, very determined into cul-de-sacs at the moment. Cul-de-sacs line with juggernauts. But look at that kick from David Versma. Right for the 10. And you're going nowhere. What a response.
It's a great option, isn't it? I think both Versma and Hop have just proved how sort of efficient they are in the air, and now they're just sort of almost returning the favour to the Georgian back three and trying to find some of those spots that are just being unmarked. And obviously I think they've got 2 in the backfield, but doing really well there just to find the corner. And
you are in
the best option, you know. They're struggling to get game line and those carries. Just going to have to try and turn them and get them to play from here.
Time on.
It's 2 great kicks, to be fair.
When you know you're going to be so physically dominated, you know, you're a coach
Wait!
Some work. How do you prepare your players for it? Because, you know, it's tin metal hat time. And look at this drive. We'll come back to that question. They've gone down the short side though, Georgia. They're being full of life and vigour now. The Georgians, and they're breaking out of defence here. Kamaladze, the fullback, and it bounces into the arms. Tabuadze, try scorer last week, try scorer, and he finally of turning defence into attack. You will not see.
Brilliant, wasn't it? Again, just so much different variation around that catch drive, and we can see it draws in so many of those forwards from the Netherlands that just a little bust or a little breakout from there, and suddenly there's spaces and a great opportunity to exploit it. And we've talked around that wind, you know, very clever, keeps that ball nice and low along the floor. Again, we've already mentioned those big dead ball areas, big in goal areas, sorry, and great option from Georgia. Devastating for the Netherlands.
The counter drive was brilliant, and you could sense the crowd saying, well, yeah, this is the area you're going to struggle in, but you're winning this. They break away. It's a brilliant work. Papanadze, scrum half, Fabulous work from him round the side, and it started it all off. Wins to their backs. They need to get a lead here, Georgia, but they're responding very well. Last week's disappointing, will be for them very disappointing draw, but conversion is missed for the second time, but try number 2 is marked on the board.
Right, okay. Cédric, pour toi.
Fastest growing rugby nation in the world, Georgia. Still on top of the joint table. We'll make no apologies for reminding you, because this is well, there's so much intensity in all these sides. You saw that earlier on with Spain and Russia as Georgia knock it on. See a little oh, he's flipped it. Mistakes all over the park. Now it's the time of the Netherlands.
No.
To get a little bit of luck.
Advantage,
Advantage over, says the referee, from the knock-on. That's the try line. Referee's on the wrong side here.
Avantage.
Kortevek goes. Advantage is high from Georgia.
Advantage.
Kortevek still waiting.
No advantage. You are off feet. Stay up, please.
Dyke was in there.
Number 4. Yeah, number 4.
Off
Off feet, so
your feet.
no advantage. We come back here for high tackle. Stay on. No.
Black Lions player is penalised. Dirk Gannon asking for more than just a penalty. You might be a little early for that.
High tackle.
What do you do here, Coach Taylor?
Captain.
I know, it's one of those moments, isn't it? Like, would you want to go for the scrum? Would you want to go for the line-out? But they know that they're going to have that arm wrestle, so I think they're going for the points here, which might, it's a smart move. They've got the wind behind them, and they'll be thinking about, can they take points every time they get into that zone? That's what they'll want to do. They'll want to keep that scoreboard ticking over. But again, great reward for keeping that high defensive line, and they get a turnover midfield.
And they've got to do it, and it's something new to this level of rugby.
Wait!
It was a big focus last year.
On the line. The PK is
playing
here.
for the full 80, but they really have to do that today to keep that defensive press up, because there are mistakes there, and Georgia haven't been rocked often in this competition. And whether consciously or subconsciously, I suspect a little bit shaken by a draw last week when you're so used to winning. First points here for Netherlands. Simple enough for David Versma.
I think it's just good at this level, isn't it, to count those entries into the opposition 22. Obviously, there's had a couple of good clearing kicks, which has put Georgia in a defensive position, but it's the first time they've really looked at attacking in there, and that's what they'll want. They'll want that conversion rate to be high, get into the 22, get some points, come out, get back there again.
Use it, line!
Swirling around very much.
Not on the ball. You are not on the ball.
Coming towards.
You are never on the ball.
Rugby Europe cameras, the host broadcasters' cameras.
Use it, line!
Just joining us. A very good afternoon. You don't have to move at all today. Just sit on the sofa, and it is rugby wall to wall. Men's rugby, we should say. Of course, Rugby Europe bringing you some women's rugby games later this month.
Number white.
Certainly the appetite for rugby is there in the Netherlands commercially. Partnerships there, they're doing what they can. Zegano looking at it in a very holistic approach. Phil Davis was there in a camp looking at things before his new appointment to Director of Rugby at World Rugby. You Welsh get everywhere.
Oh, he's a great guy. Had the pleasure of meeting him up at RGC in North Wales, and really pleased for his appointment.
Yeah, he did some work with us at Sky. One of the go-to impressions in the office.
I want on the middle. In the minor, throw into middle, please.
Very, very good start from the Georgian 9. Vasily
Time off.
Lobanidze. Over 50 caps now, a couple of World Cups under his belt. The 2015, he was the youngest
Props.
to play in the World Cup. Youngest player to get to 50 caps, beating another Welshman, being a certain George North. He was 23 years of age and 110 days.
All good?
You can tell it's been a busy week at the Hampton household.
Time on. Knock on. 9 white.
But he's knocked it on there.
Orange.
And of course, his break from the side of that ruck deep in their own half, more I should say,
Yeah, slow call, please.
led to the Tabatamadze try. There's Dirk Dannon.
Shoulder, please. Shoulder.
He is
Time.
full license to wear pink boots, no problem at all when you've given so much to your country.
Clutch.
Interesting, Zane Gardner talking about he's giving up his shirt, leaving his shirt behind today. Leaves a big hole. Some of these youngsters to try and fill it.
Use it.
Salmon, the 7 today. Got Liam Stone on the bench
Play
as
on.
well. He'll make his debut.
Stop, 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 15. 15.
Lee Campbell was told to stop by the referee very, very clearly. He didn't.
Number 15.
Lobanidze
15 in front of the kicker.
looking to take it quickly, and then sense prevails.
Like that little option from Hop though, just getting the ball, you know, out wide again, and then as soon as that defensive line comes up from Georgia, just a little chip over the top again, just try and be a little bit different, put a bit of variety into their attack. Just unfortunately Campbell just in front of the kicker. It's probably one of those areas where to play, isn't it? Do you want to give Georgia a line out in this part of the field? They'll be frustrated.
No. Is the answer coming very, very clearly. They love their set piece. You can see why. Great ball off the top. Delahania, the man rising highest. And then they bring in wave after wave of runner. Big, powerful runners as well. Mamushashvili. Kurogadze.
Number 4. Number 4.
Yes, Chiashvili.
Three,
Second
number
penalty.
12.
The second row is given away. And it's a let-off for the Netherlands.
It is just getting a little bit over-eager at that breakdown, just coming in off their feet. They're trying to get as quick ball as possible, and what I like about those the forwards at the moment, they're just setting quite a little bit wider off their 9, just really sort of targeting that ruck defence from the Netherlands, which is great, but probably just a little bit overzealous there and just coming in off their feet.
On your feet.
From the assistant referee's flag there, that we're sort of coming toward far side to this near side. As Darlington, of the Mark variety, gets the call. Experienced front row for the Netherlands. Plenty of tests together. Langelang, Darlington and Darlington. Good around the field as well. Versma. Taken well. Khamaladze.
Never complete. Back. Always
Backwards, and this frenetic nature of this game is going to suit the Netherlands, but they do need to have the ball first. Good tackle on that wide outside. Van der Veer for the Netherlands. Delgonia. The Biarritz player.
Play on.
He's shot in the Basque country. Using their forwards out wide. And again, it's wave after wave runner. Mukashvili flips it. Japaridze! Oh, the tight head's going! What a rumble from the Georgian tight head. He'll be absolutely delighted. One of the younger men in this Georgian pack. And he has absolutely loved that moment, and why not?
Great line, wasn't it? I think just as that tip runner, just offering something a little bit different, coming back against that defensive grain, and such a strong sort of like a good centre of gravity on him as well. Just unable, like rides a couple of tackles. I say a couple of tackles, it's like 2 or 3, even 4 tackles. So he'd be really pleased with that. Great carry from him. Great determination to get to the line.
Brilliant, isn't it? You've got to make your first up tackles when you're against the side. So physical. Conversion is easy enough as well. 3rd try is converted. And Georgia have that lead now of 17 points to 3. Just can't afford to miss those tackles, can you, Rachel?
No, it's difficult. It was their possession, wasn't it? Netherlands' possession just on the halfway line, but probably in 2 phases gone 10, 15 metres back, forced to kick. And, you know, we've seen a couple of great kicks so far this game. That one just finding a defender and straight away forced to defend. And they won't want to be defending constantly for 40 minutes. You know, it's going to have its toll in the long run of this game.
Massively is. Vegas managed to keep that ball in there. Here's the scrum half wearing 24. Tried to fight Van der Jaar, but passes forward anyway. It's a good angle. Good option as well, attacking around those ruck areas with the backs. That's what they want to do, just mix the play up.
They've shown some nice variation, haven't they, when they've had ball in hand. Cutting back in around the ruck area, as you mentioned, a couple of little kicks.
Shoulder, please. Clutch. Bind. Set.
Won the scrum though here, Netherlands.
Advantage
to Georgia. Got to be accurate. We spoke about that earlier on, didn't we?
Yeah, those forwards won't want to get out from that scrum and see that that's happened at all. And, you know, we spoke about them working their way out of their own half, and big kick from Georgia, and they find themselves back in that 22, and suddenly they've got to get through that graft again, you know, which is going to take the toll on the forwards. Great platform from them.
And when you're not in
a nice little pickup.
Sorry, cutting right across you,
5, thanks.
Rachel.
Wait. Okay,
apologies. I was just going to say, when it's not a fully professional outfit, you know, all that kind of stuff, that physical conditioning, something that these professional outfits just take for granted. Professionals against amateurs, really. As Tabu Adzi comes away, and then, oh, it's brilliant. He has been so involved, the Georgian line. Robson Adzi with the bonus point score, and we're not even half an hour on the clock here in Amsterdam.
Showing a clean pair of heels there, isn't he? Really putting his foot on the gas, showing what else he's got in his locker. Great finish, and again, been really impressed with their transition ball. You know, from going from defence to attack, they're picking those spaces. But to touch on your point from earlier, it's just going to be really difficult for the Netherlands, especially if you want to have that intensity in that line speed off. You know, in defence, like having to repeat that line speed over and over again, it's really difficult to sustain that kind of intensity, especially for 80 minutes. So they'd much rather probably have their hands on the ball. I know it's difficult because they're going to have to go through the phases, and we've already seen they're sort of struggling to get the gain line. But yeah, you know, it'll come down to their conditioning and whether that wind favours them in the second half as well.
Panadzi. Good combination, aren't they? Controlling this game very, very well, the Georgian halfbacks. Lob Hanadze. Abs Hanadze.
No, ball is there.
Georgia take the restart. 24-3. Half an hour on the clock.
Use it, 9. Stay
I
back.
think it's fair to say so little time together, the Netherlands, working around work commitments and what have you. Good tackle from him.
Advantage,
Stopped
knock on.
on, say the officials. I think it came off an elbow.
Advantage, just knock on.
A picture being created though, isn't it? You can see the Netherlands just
Use it,
standing
right.
out of the ruck.
Stop, stop, stop. Stop, stop. Advantage, ball for the knock on. Back out.
They will field stronger sides than today. Vinenkar chips it back inside. Hop is after this one.
Drop out.
Abs Hanadze
Drop to Carolina.
touches down for Georgia. Russia and Romania, the games they're,
5 meters,
I
please.
wouldn't say targeting, but looking to have a little bit more time together. Only a couple of weeks together in
Yeah,
this
let's
game.
go right.
Georgia with that draw last week, it's the hill turned into a mountain. Drop out from behind their own try line for David Versmar. He didn't have too many options, so decided to just put his head down and go. But you can see the pace of the ruck ball,
Right.
the difference between the two sides. It's the Netherlands and the style of rugby that they want to play, that want that quicker ruck ball. Korteweg and Rademacher, of course, in the ranks for the Netherlands. Dannen, Versmar, Campbell's up and then Hop, and he's jumping around.
Back.
Darlington. Now they look into the midfield and that offload. Here we go. Here's the rhythm that St. Gardner was speaking to me about yesterday that they want to play with. Little tip-offs. Just changing that point of a contact. Brunsmar now. Nailed last week, of course. Campbell back inside.
Real is right.
Vinenkar flicked it back inside. Where's this one going?
After knock on the floor.
Oh, it's a comedy of errors out there.
After knock on by number
Just
9,
in a
right.
glimpse there for a couple of minutes, Rachel Taylor. We saw what the Netherlands are capable of when they keep hold of the ball.
Yeah, exactly, and that'll give him loads of confidence. They're playing some nice little pass variations behind that group of forwards, getting them out wide. You know, been really impressed with Hop and both Campbell, putting a little bit of oomph, if you like, and a bit of pace onto that ball out wide, and that in itself is helping get a quick ball because they're almost managing that collision on their terms. I think that's really helping them. You see that then, but just comes back down to them forcing that last pass, which I think they've been a little bit, they've lacked that clinicalness. I'm not even sure that's a word, but just in that 22. But yeah, you know, you can see it. Forwards picking up, can go in, backs trying to get out through the almost out the back from that shadow pass, but it's good variation and it seems to suit them. And I think just that probably 2-3 minute phase there will give them loads of confidence in what they can achieve in the Georgian 22.
Time on. Knock on. 9 wide.
Look at some of the highlights here.
Orange.
Lobzanadze breaking away.
Right foot, right feet around the mark.
See a lure as well.
Okay, again, some instability.
That's a technical term, is it? Oomph. It's in the coaching
Yeah, oomph, give it some oomph.
level 5, is it?
I think it's it just shows, doesn't it? Like they put a little bit of intensity on that ball, run with intent, just like the difference that can make. And at the moment, you know, they run with intent, a compact Georgian defensive line. You're not going to get a lot of leeway, so they've got to try and find those spaces. They've got to try and find those edges to get some gain line.
We'll start.
Started, wasn't it, by David Versma went very, very direct, right up the middle. Showed the rest of this side how it can be done. Hagscheck Rugby Club. David Versma applies his trade out. They hope to get something before half time here. Netherlands, they're realistic. They're enjoying this level of competition. They're enjoying going against the champions. Champions in 17, 18, 19, 20 and 21.
Captain. Ah, sorry, I wait the advantage. Corner range.
Quite like to have played that one on.
White.
But the knock on from the men in orange. Test rank 12, Delos. That's Georgia known. A couple of players unavailable. Plenty of these players, of course, play in France. Less and less now with the GIF quota in French club rugby. Gigiashvili not here with Toulon. That is Beckball and Brigvadze. Similarly with Argent. It's not a bad looking pack though, is it? Look at that front row. Fair play to the Netherlands. They've done brilliantly well in the entirety of this first half. Quick hands. Tabuadze. Trying to play from deep here, Georgia. Just wonder whether it gives us an indication whether they've got that wind in their back. This one's gone high. Is it holding up in the air? Campbell came up for it. He's missed it. Tabuadze takes it away though for Georgia, and then there'll be some space on this left-hand side. Can they find it? It's a brilliant pass. Oh, look at that! It's forward. Meskai thought he was in. Did all the hard work, didn't they? Tabuadze round the man, gave the pass, and it just drifted forward.
Yeah, a horrible bounce there, wasn't it, for Campbell? Came forward, thought he was going to get it on the full, I think. Just bounced up nicely for Georgia. But, yeah, looks a little bit of panic defence there, but just putting them just under enough pressure to force the error on the pass. A few forwards down having some water. I think those scrums are starting to have a bit of impact.
They really have showed their clinical-ness, haven't they, at scrum time, the Dutch so far. They have been up to the challenge, not for this try from this young man in the front row now, Japaridze, and then the older statesman. In terms of experience, Lobs Hanidze, the scrum half, with a try. Fourth try. Gianni with the first early on. Tabuadze. Japa. Ridzi. And then that last for the scrum half. Fit to script so far. Very smart. Just hands possession back to Georgia. Well, that was a little bit telegraphed from the Dutch 10. Obzanadze whips it out. And that defensive line came out very quickly, almost too quickly. And Georgia come away. Down that right-hand side, it's brilliant flowing rugby. Oh, it's sumptuous. What a team score that is from Georgia. They are the reigning champions, and they want to get to that World Cup, and they want to retain their crown. Tabuadze may be the man to dot it down, but that is a brilliant team score.
Lovely effort, isn't it? Again, I think we talked about the Netherlands just trying to have a bit of variation in their attack, and they tried it, but you're right. You know, they give themselves a good platform at the scrum, but give possession away within a phase, and straight away their backs are defending. And I think just in that, just really nice to see some of the loose forwards out in those wide channels, you know, having to defend them as a back line is a bit of a scary prospect, and just does the right thing, draws a couple of defenders and gives the easy pass. But yeah, smart from Georgia. You know, they're obviously starting to grow and get a little bit of more consistency in this game now.
Met deze laatste twijfel Georgia. Kom op de stand. Nederland 3. Georgia 29. En with the latest try by the number
5th try for Georgia.
The score is Holland 3. Georgia 29.
Unable to count the conversion. 29-3. Minute or so to go before half time. They will keep learning, the Netherlands. Not overawed by any of these prospects, and that very much comes from Zane Gardner. And this their 250th Test match. Again, it's been a quiet week here in Hampshire. They understand this is the reigning champions, the big boys at this level. The boys who constantly come into conversations, don't they, this time of the year when the Six Nations is on. And that result, Portugal against these Georgians, that draw. Certainly that news of it rippled around the rugby world. Penalty to Georgia on the knee. Langeland. And the brace of Darlingtons look in utter disbelief, as any front rower does when they've got a penalty against them.
Of course. It's never their fault, right?
Never is our fault. It's the back rows and behind, it's their fault.
It's a nice pressure relief though, isn't it, for the Georgians to have that, I guess, power and that scrum as such a weapon. You know, they can come under a little bit of pressure, probably be frustrated that they didn't really tidy up that kick-off receipt as well as they'd like to, but just to be able to pull that out of the drawer again is just a nice for them to have, gets them further up the park and relieves the pressure on them.
The bearded Mamukashvili takes the line out. There's been no problems at the line out. It's a nice line out take, isn't it? And a nice backs movement here. Kamaladze just tidies things up, the fullback. Players playing on, but the ball is knocked on. And that is half time. The champions wanted a response from the first draw in some 5 years in this competition against Portugal last week, the Georgians, and they've come out in really, really good style here. Scored 5 tries in that first 40 minutes against the Netherlands. Half time in Amsterdam. It's Georgia 29, the Netherlands 3.
Je kan het ook in de close app, die iedereen natuurlijk heeft, kun je ook de nummers van zien. Want de notaris die daarboven zit, die heeft net de 10 winnende nummers getrokken. Dus nou, dan gaan we eens even kijken. Degene met de nummer 94. En dan hebben we nog iemand met de nummer 77. En we hebben ook iemand, bingo, met nummer 89. En kijk, daar hebben we een winnaar. We hebben nummer 70, die heeft ook een mooie trui. En nummertje 64 heeft ook een fantastische trui. Oh. En nummer 25 zie ik hier. En nummer 14. En nummer 39. En de laatste is inderdaad 58. De mensen die een heel mooi tasje, een mooi koeltasje hebben gewonnen met een trui, die kunnen ze in het clubhuis achter de bar ophalen. Van harte gefeliciteerd. En ik zou zeggen, probeer zo meteen nog zo lekker biertje van onze nieuwe vrienden van Gold. En een applaus. gaan de heren het weer opnemen tegen Roemenië. En het is nu officieel, zoals door de Jort Costa bekendgemaakt is dat Grons, en we kunnen het zien aan die prachtige manier, medesponsor is van Rugby Nederland. Fantastisch en hartelijk welkom. Daarnaast, als u in de Eredivisie niet altijd aanwezig kunt zijn bij een wedstrijd, dan hebben we daar vanuit de bond een platform dat heet Icons, zoals het geschreven wordt, Griekse I, E, C, O en S. Daar kunt u Eredivisie-wedstrijden op zien. Sommige zijn zelfs livestreams, dus live vanaf het veld. Er wordt hard gewerkt dat alle Eredivisie-clubs ook hun data gaan leveren, wedstrijddata, aan Icons en bezoek die eens. Kijk eens. En het is ook ervoor gezorgd dat het platform volledig gratis is voor alle Eredivisieclubs en de clubs daaronder. Bezoekt u de website eens. Dank u wel.
Half-time here at the National Rugby Stadium in Amsterdam. As the home side are trailing by 26 points. Georgia, the reigning champions of the four years, taking the advantage 9 points to 3 over the Netherlands. And you and I, Rachel Taylor, were just chatting there at half-time. It's very, very evident to see how the Netherlands want to try and play the game against such a restrictive and constrictor-like, in terms of its physicality, Georgian side. It's very, very difficult to play that way.
It is, yeah, and I think they'll probably be a little bit frustrated, Netherlands, not to come away with any points in that half other than that penalty kick, because they did put the Georgians under pressure with that line speed and they were forcing errors. And I think we saw, didn't we, probably like a little period of time where they kept ball in hand, went through probably 7, 8, 9 phases, but just didn't manage to execute that final pass. And they'll know they can do it. It's just, I suppose, their decision making and where they try and force that pass, because Georgia have just been so clinical in their execution of turnover ball. They've literally ripped the Netherlands apart on their counter. So there'll be lots of positives that the Netherlands can take, especially from that half and what they probably need to do. But I've been really impressed by Georgia and just how smartly they've adapted to this game, and they've almost sucked the Netherlands into that arm wrestle, but actually played something totally different. So it'll be interesting to see if they change their dynamic in the second half as well.
They've impressed me, Georgia. A little bit of ambition, a little bit more width in their play. With a great respect to the Netherlands, you might expect that against the side who were unable to muster any points last year in the Rugby Europe Championship. But a great shot there, and we've got to say, haven't we, a few Georgian flags fluttering away in the wind. Bright sunshine, but 29 kilometres an hour. The power of the wind. Not ruffling his beard though. Mamukas really stern as ever. He's not a big man, is he? But the power he generates is extraordinary. We're just saying a lovely shot there of some Dutch children with a rugby ball. That is very much the future, isn't it? This group of players on that sort of cusp of pushing Dutch rugby to the next level. The man who says goodbye, just in the background of the shot there, past the referee, Ludovic Serra. The last 40 minutes, if he lasts 40 minutes in the orange shirt of his country.
C'est bon la télé? Captain! Captain White!
We'll get the second half underway for Georgia. Georgia in the white, the Netherlands in the home strip. Their traditional orange. Van der Weyer has done really, really well there to keep that ball into play, because he was being manhandled towards that touchline. Kutivek, wearing 24, but started at scrum half, and he's just put a little bit too much mustard on that, or should I say mayonnaise in the Netherlands.
Yeah, he'll be a bit frustrated with that, won't he? Just again, like that strength of that wind, I think on the kick-off receipt probably wasn't where it was intended, but did really well to keep it in. And then
on you, please.
sadly the wind going against them on that box kick, just going straight out on the full. But be interesting to see if that's a tactic they keep using.
Yeah, it's so strong. You can see the assistant referee flag there, the touchline flags coming into us, into the camera lenses. Certainly swirling around, that it is strong and it is a factor, and this line out's a factor as well for Georgia. Kamaladze, Meskai, but for a forward pass or two. Would have had a try in that first half.
Number 6.
Obstanidze.
Yeah, number 6. You'll not
Being
bind. You are
happy
not
with
bind. Side and 3.
that ruck on that far side. But it's Louis Brunsma, Stade Montois player in France. One of these
Number 6.
hybrids to the 6/lock players who's been penalised.
Side and 3.
Side entry at the mall, I think, just the messaging from the referee there, but so difficult for them, you know, they're having to sort of rearrange their bind, which obviously they're not allowed to do, but just to be able to stop this Georgian drive. So tricky for them. They're going to have to use everything they've got in there. It's as forward pack to try and keep giving the Georgian forwards a different picture around that catch drive time.
Okay. Bloque-le, Stéphane, les substitutions. Substitution, number 3, 3 orange.
Couple of minutes in, and now this line out just outside the 22. Andrew Darlington, up until Thursday night, unsure whether he was going to be able to make the fixture. But quite rightly, a disciplinary meeting came and went. Not too many biscuits or waffles were consumed, and he was cleared and allowed to play. The first replacement of the afternoon then.
All good?
Ludi Buis.
Diamond.
Hagash Rugby Club player. Just a handful of caps now, wearing 20, but replacement tight head.
Wait!
First part of the line out is done correctly for Georgia here.
Garde le petit côté, Stéphane. Stay bind.
Right through the middle, Mamukashvili. That's Hanidze looking for the short runner. That's what's been impressive about Georgia today, is coming onto that ball at real pace, and nice angles being offered to the scrum half. Now it's back to the juggernauts. And there's a little tip there. It begins to frustrate Levin Maashvili, the Georgian coach, Gugurgi Chikaladze and Corey Brown, the assistant coaches. It's a gilt-edged opportunity. David Versma getting into touch. Frustration for a coach in that situation, Rachel Saylor.
It will be for them at this point, I think, yeah, but you've got to flip it and look at the Netherlands. That's a great defensive set. You know, we literally just spoke about them having to use a bit of variety in their defensive pitches that they're giving the Georgian catch drive, and they do straight away, and they hit it and they hold it very well, and much sharper to that threat of 9 breaking off, and then a really good line speed, and they get the ball back. So they'll be really pleased with that. That'll give them a lot of confidence. But for Georgia, exactly, frustration. You know, they'll want to get into that 22, take points every time they're there.
Points win
Yeah, we're on the
prizes.
5. Okay, from.
Prize, place at the World Cup. In the driving seat. Still on top of the joint table. Last year's championship, this year's championship. Add the points together. The top two directly into World Cup 2023 in France. Third place will then go into a World Repechage playoff. So there's everything to play for these teams, and they know it. Georgia's still on top, even after the draw last week. 26 points. It'll be 31 with this game as it is, as it stands. And they're looking for more here, Georgia. T. Campbell doing his best to get in the way for the Netherlands, but wave after wave of Georgian heavy artillery, and they crash over for the first try of this second half.
Là, vous m'entendez?
So much power, so much physicality. Georgian side.
Ouais, d'accord, ça marche.
Gioradze, the latest scorer.
I think there was about 4 or 5 turnovers in the contact area just in that little last bit of play. A few people getting ripped in the contact area, and it's just I think the Georgians are just managing that transition from to defence to attack just so much better at the moment. You know, probably their experience at this level, and again, you're just watching those sort of loose forwards just floating out a little bit wider, becoming tip options. They're trying to move out of contact now as well, just giving another different picture to their attack and getting their reward.
Inevitable in the end, wasn't it? Gioradze, the brief player.
Use it, 9! Allez, rentrez dans les 22.
T.
Il est
Campbell.
dans ses 50,
Versmar looking for that 50-22 again, wasn't he?
Stop, White, stop!
Likes playing for that. Down to his opposite number. Habs Hanadze.
Yeah, I think you
Dutch
can
line
pick
out.
up some of the players shouting
Same
great
line,
result,
same
great
line.
result, and it is because it's their line out and they make that territory gain after that little kicking battle, and they'll be pleased with that. I think Campbell probably in a bit of a better position there just to regain the ball on the full, just giving them another option to sort of pin the Georgians back. Turns out it's their possession just off the halfway line.
Very much take that. Low sun coming down. Liam Stone. Perhaps they're watching on at Bridge North RFC. Club in England, in the Midlands of England. He's coming through again. Brunsmar. Oh, he's smashing his way. Mullet and all.
Hey, all good.
Mohawk and all. Versmar. Is that tackle ridden up slightly? Yes, says the referee. Nothing malice in it. Just slid up with one of those seatbelt tackles. Van Dijk, the latest runner for the Netherlands. Want to try and keep this tempo high.
Advantage. Just be careful.
Korteweg. Versma tries to get to go himself. He may just work out for the Netherlands. Donen on his last appearance for the Netherlands. Nobody trophy is more fitting to score that try than Dirk Donen, the Dutch captain, on his last ever appearance. What a man, what a player, what a servant, and a great, great score.
Yeah.
Some things are just meant to be, aren't they? Just falls
Okay.
nicely to him.
Okay.
bit of explosion, bit of power just to get him through that last tackle.
3-1 Georgie.
But yeah, you're spot on. Such a talisman for the Netherlands, and just really pleasing for him to get that try.
Thanks. You can do the substitution just after the conversion.
And if the script writer's available, I'd be very, very keen on a conversation. Because that is not a bad way to bow out. First try of this year's championship.
Nice bit of build-up play as well, wasn't it, from the Netherlands? Couple of phases one way, swinging it back to the blind side, trying to pick those gaps in that Georgian defence. Again, a little bit of variation from them. Just forcing a mistake, and quickest to capitalise.
Oh, it's in off the post as well. 36-10.
All good substitution.
Stranger things have happened. Look at this from David Versmart.
All good? Okay,
Don't think he's got the legs. Boom.
Merci les gars.
They all count. The 80th minute in the last.
Advantage.
Russia were winning 80th
Not
minute.
done.
Spain eventually won the game in the 84th minute. So strange things do happen.
Advantage over for the knock-on.
Oh, they respond straight away. Georgia spinning and twisting. Delahoria responds straight away. They weren't happy with conceding, but that is a try of some note. Great individual score from the Georgian number 8.
C'est bon, c'est moi.
Try last week against Portugal. Another one here, nicely taken, Rachel Taylor.
Yeah, great try, and exactly what they'll have wanted to do. You know, they wouldn't have been happy to concede that. Probably a bit of frustration from the Netherlands not to tidy up that kick-off receipt again, just allowing Georgia that position on the pitch. But, you know, we mentioned it a couple of times today. Been in that position, they've been ruthless with it, and you know, you can't argue with that. And that's exactly their response they'll have been looking for from the Georgian coaches as well.
C'est bon, Cédric, place-toi, je vais m'en occuper.
Just beginning to attain the possibility.
We have one orange player here.
Of a comeback. That's whipped away from us. 33 points to the difference now.
Ouais, il... Time on. Play by White, play by White. Back.
They can restart neatly. Georgia.
Play on track.
Just running away with it now. With a bit between their teeth. Almost sort of jolted into life. Often happens, doesn't it, when the opposition score against you.
Release.
Yeah, just a little bit of an increase in tempo, isn't it? Just putting that Dutch defence under massive strain.
Rushed in. Gadawaya. And it's just a simple handoff. Oh, he doesn't need anyone else. He's so cheeky. He's so canny. He's so important to Georgia. With his try that.
Just said, didn't we, about that tempo? And this guy's made today. Great skill set for the younger players to see their ball back in two hands. He's got options inside and out. Just makes it so hard for that cover defence. And like you said, a little bit cheeky. Fancied that one for himself and straight between the posts.
Yeah.
Imagine the reception he would have got from his forwards if he hadn't scored. It's not worth thinking about. We don't need to because he scored it.
52
And then we're up to 50 points now.
So you said?
Abs Hanadzi gets his latest 2 points,
Okay,
and
not
Georgia's
8,
latest
it's
2
9.
points. We haven't
Okay.
chipped 47
Number
last
9.
week.
Number
Now
9.
50 this week for the
9.
Netherlands. Also, all their learning
Number
experiences.
9.
That famous game in
15.
Waterloo, and they beat Belgium to promotion to
On attend.
this
Wait.
Rugby Europe Championship. A few replacements
Wait, just 10 seconds, okay? All good?
being made by both sides on the 55-minute mark. The way with you coaches. Pre-scripted, is it?
All good? Okay.
Often, or do you get a
There
sense
might
and
be
a feel, Rachel Taylor?
Yeah, there'll be a couple of changes that are probably pre-planned. But, you know, we've already mentioned around the
Stop,
intensity that
17. Okay,
we know
play on.
these Georgian forwards were going to bring, so there'll be some changes that will have had to have probably come about after taking the toll on some of these players physically.
Release now. Now wait.
You already hopped at the
Thanks.
pass. They're smart. Schola, new scrum half for the Dutch. Liam Stone.
Advantage, knock on. Stay back.
Burik tries to charge that one down from
Knock on.
Abs Hanadzi.
No advantage. Knock on range. Scrum white.
Yeah, I don't think Wersner will be too happy with that one. Just new scrum half, drills at his ankles. Tricky one to take with a defensive line coming at you. And
Number
unfortunately for them, little knock on and they lose possession.
7. 26. 26.
26 going off.
No, it's knock on orange. À l'avant orange.
That's Jim Burik.
All good? Damon. Non, il y a un avant orange. Avant.
Just too many weak branches
À
up
l'avant
there
orange, knock on
for
orange.
the Netherlands, for
White.
Georgia to try and target weak shoulders.
So we change
Never
players,
gonna
so I want
be
same
deep.
stability, please, okay?
But this moment will be saved in Dutch
Good luck,
rugby
please.
for some time. Dirk Dannon,
Crunch!
6 years. He's
Might keep him in the game for another couple of games.
Set!
Might get interest. Might get a little interest. Oh, it's easy, this stuff. I can keep scoring tries. But there's certainly plenty of work being done. Of course, the
Stay back!
Super Cup and the Dutch side Delta being introduced.
Stay back, please! 16!
An
Back!
exposure
UD blind!
the Dutch can only be a good thing of strengthening Dutch rugby.
Advantage,
At the
knock
moment
on
it's
white.
difficult with work commitments. Clubs as well. They're getting towards the end of their season, not wanting to release players. You know, realistically, the Netherlands,
Advantage, orange.
no
First
chance
knock
of
on.
getting to a World Cup
White.
in this competition. They'll build
Scrum orange.
and move for next year. And it's all been a real rush for them, you know, since getting
Knock on
through
for
from
team
Belgium.
white.
Only 7 weeks between the
Team white.
last championship and this.
Scrum orange.
Not easy for a side new to this level.
Pareil, je te
Different
laisse,
matter
Stéphane.
for Mamukashvili and his side.
Let's go, please. Allez, la marque, please.
This is
Same, please.
the
I want to
Rugby
see your shoulder. Same.
Europe podcast this week. T. Campbell was on there.
Behind!
Effervescent player. He,
Set!
his style of play very much depicted in the personality of the man. Lively player. Here he is with ball in hand.
Advantage.
Because he wanted to play with a little bit of razzle dazzle today.
Advantage white.
That's a little bit razzle and turn the ball over dazzle.
Advantage over for the knock-on.
Godfroy is on. Benny Coulson as well for the Netherlands. Trying to keep you up to date with these subs. And just straight through again, Georgia.
Stay back.
Great defensive work from Shola. Hugo Shola.
Advantage.
Abanadze arrives now.
Offside.
The scrum half. They're just not wanting to put anyone into those breakdowns now, the Netherlands. There's a penalty coming.
Advantage, offside.
Yeah, the arm is out from the referee. Abanadze waits. It's turned over. T. Campbell won't
16
take it.
orange, offside.
That penalty.
Yeah,
Benny
number
Coulson,
16.
man, he's just come on. He's penalised. He's offside. Just too eager to get that defensive set.
Yeah, it just all comes back to them losing possession again, doesn't it? Just that forcing that pass again. Couple of opportunities. That back line's probably had the chance to go now. They've had numbers on that Georgian defence, but I suppose that shows the difference in where the two teams are. You know, Georgia have executed those opportunities very well, and for the Netherlands, it's around about identify them and then not forcing that last pass. But
Go first.
some good cover defence, stop that initial break. But you know, we've mentioned it a couple of times now. They're just some of the defenders are just falling off these tackles, and it's just too easy for the Georgian attack to break that first
Stay on the
line.
Must be frustrating because there's certainly some talent there.
Yeah, we're on to 5. One
You
stop.
get your
One
hands on
stop.
these players. Little time that St. Garner
Same
does. Georgia just turning the screw, aren't they? Just turning that physicality. Keep going around that left-hand side, and in the end, the dam is breached.
Be careful if you pull up the mall. Yeah.
I think it looks like it's Shiashvili, or is it Gigoradze?
3, number 3.
Who's the last up from the pile?
4, 9 and 2.
Well worked
Right.
though, isn't it?
4, 9 and 2.
Really well worked, and you can see, you know, they've had that
4, 9
variation
and
around
2 wide,
patch
please.
drive. They've had some little breaks off the back of it. They've tried to mix it up with a funny one around the front, but at this point in the game, you know, it's about putting the squeeze on that team, and they'll want to keep this scoreboard ticking over. You know, we've mentioned how important those points will be for them, and it's just, we talked about their scrum being a strength. That is another strength that these forwards have, and to go there and just really turn that screw it's going to be heartbreaking for the Netherlands, but great to see from Georgia.
Gia Morgadze with a try. It's his second of this half.
All good for the substitution.
Try number 9.
Okay, thanks.
Level like coach
Number
Coach
8.
will tail after 50
You are
points. You
captain.
abandon the game.
You are captain.
Not at your
you are
serious
captain.
level though. It's certainly not at Rugby Europe Championship level.
Okay, stay on.
Nice take. Tabu Twadzi.
Stay back, 16.
Couple of tries today
Use
for
it.
him.
Wait. Okay, play on. Yeah, on you, please. Now,
Strange part of the
alright.
game now, isn't it?
You
The
get
game is very much won for Georgia. Impressively so as well. Of course, Spain were leading the table coming into this round. They got the maximum points. The ultimate flip-flop of a game against Russia earlier on.
knock on white. Wait, no, knock on white.
I think this will be that real learning zone, won't it, for the Netherlands now? Like, how do they play through this remaining period of the game? You know, little details like an overthrow there at the line out. You know, that'll be frustrating for them. It'll be about just bringing it back in, getting back to what they know that they'll be good at, but also an opportunity for them to try some little things as well. You know, they'll want to see what works for them. There was a great period of time, wasn't there, in that first half where they went through the phases.
Romania-Portugal later on today for you, third game.
But he's out.
Great deal they can do at the moment in the Netherlands. It's 20 past 3 UTC for that game, Romania against Portugal. Winners in round 1. Against Russia, 34-25, and of course that 25-all draw between Portugal and the side just giving a penalty away here in Amsterdam. Table as it stands on 9 points, Spain. Didn't release. Right, that's tight, that one, isn't it?
It was tight. It did look like, obviously now the defensive player, once they get into that tackle area, they have to release the player before they go back onto the ball. And touch and go, that one for me did look as if he tried to. But, you know, the Netherlands will be very pleased with that result. Allows them to get out of the 22, but Georgia might feel a little bit hard done by.
Still possession with Georgia then. Still looking for more tries. Looking for a 10th score here as they make a foray into that Dutch half. Cialur with the tackle. These power runners just keep coming. Just in the way, the Netherlands, and simply can't do that. Benny Coulson.
No, it just came through an overthrow again, didn't it, at the line out. So just they managed to get out of their half, but you know, rugby at this level is very much about the set piece and retaining ball and playing in the right areas of the park, you know, and they'll be really disappointed to relieve the pressure and then lose the line out ball.
Just the cookie jar was open, wasn't it? And he can't resist.
Yeah, a lot of refereeing's been looking around that breakdown area now, haven't they? Where, you know, the player has to roll away, sort of east to west, we say, where they don't affect that nine's next play. Netherlands there just guilty of slightly getting in the way, which, as you said, just opened up that cookie jar.
The reverse Myers agree with cheers from the crowd. He goes off alongside Van Dijk. I'm just trying to work out. Georgia started the day on 2 points in this table. We're up to 7 now. Added to their 26 from last year. 24, I should say, from last year. 31. The next nearest is Romania. On 18, of course, they will have to play later on. Still in the driving seat, Georgia, for a place in the World Cup. And with play like that and clinical nature of their play like that down the short side, it's a great score. Babunashvili comes on and scores almost with his first touch.
Yeah, lovely to be given that one, isn't it? Just as you come onto the field, great opportunity again, but that's just where we're seeing that variation in the forwards play from Georgia. Again, it's a cheeky one down the front. I think we see 6 or 7 of those, you know, bright orange shirts piling into that defence of that maul, but just clever from Georgia. Hold the width, bring it back blind on one phase out, and walks in at the corner, although he probably won't want to say that. He'll probably say he ran it in from a little bit further out.
So there's a late change on the team sheet. Ronnie Badzi with the try. Apologies to him and to Babarushvili. Unable to get the conversion this time. $62 points to 10, and we've still got a reasonable amount of time left in this game. We're pleased to get some points on the board, the Netherlands. Nilled last week to 47.
They will. There's been some good stuff from them, haven't there? And I think they're going to have to try and take those positives out of this game. You're right, you know, to be nilled the week before, come back and get a couple of scores today will be huge for them to prove that they can do it, and against a quality outfit as well. But there's nice little variations to their play that they've tried to do, and I think they should take those positives. You know, with having players for such a limited amount of prep time, you know, they can be pleased with that.
And I suspect, to celebrate Dirk Dannon, a reasonable night out for these players, whatever the result. They want to celebrate his contribution to the orange jersey. A bad place out for a night out, is it, Amsterdam? They get the penalty here.
You can see he commands a lot of respect on the pitch, doesn't he? You know, he is that talisman for them, and I'm sure he'll be massively missed.
Ronnie Badzi, very, very dramatically trying to keep that ball in play. And I'd like to see the replay, actually, because what's wrong with that?
Might be is where he starts on the pitch now, whether he's infield or outfield, but certainly an athletic attempt, wasn't it? Netherlands happy to play as fast as possible.
And not release. 21 orange.
Yeah, and they just get that bit of possession deep in the half, and they get the penalty, and they give a penalty away of their own, such as that physical pressure of the Georgians. That's been impressive from Georgia. You got to play what's in front of you, of course, and yeah, the draw last week. And we'll look to build into this championship, as with the Six Nations. Little sort of mini break now.
If you want to speak, you speak to me. You play, okay?
Before hosting Russia at home on the 27th of February. Then they go away to Romania, and the last game on the 20th of March is at home to Spain. It could be a massive clash if Spain continue to play the way that they are, and Georgia playing this lovely style of rugby here. Jelahania, this young 22-year-old Biarritz number 8, has been impressive. He's could be in the Winter Olympics for the amount of triple sulcos out there. But very, very effective. And the Netherlands feel that that ball was out. The referee feels differently, and there's only one opinion that really matters.
Side and 3 on the rack. And play number 21 without ball.
Had to try and be right on the edge, didn't they? But Geordie Hop, there you are, you see Rachel Taylor. If wingers get involved in forward stuff, that's what happens.
Yeah, I'm sure the forwards will all be pleased to see them trying to do a bit of counter-wrecking, but got to come in from the right direction and just a little bit tempting there just to creep in at the side and slow that ball down on purpose, and well spotted by the referee, you know, right decision.
Kahatiashvili, the replacement prop for Georgia, trying to just get his forwards going, saying we want more. He's certainly looking for more here. Dutch have come away with it. Well, we're playing advantage for the knock-on, but we will come back. There is Jalahonia. Tornike Jalahonia. Impressive today.
First orange, second white, third white.
Yeah, referee explaining there, just first knock-on came from orange and then followed by white, and at first I thought the Netherlands team would have been much rather the opportunity to be a bit further up the pitch rather than come back for a scrum, but it is in fact a Georgian scrum, so initially well defended, but they'll have another defensive set to go through now.
Set.
Look at that scrum, utterly marmalised. They're playing the colour of marmalade, don't they? And the Dutch utterly marmalised there. Tipping it quickly. Tikavashvili. I'm pleased the referee's pulled that one back, because there was a tip on.
No bind.
Like he had feet for hands.
Interesting decision
What
whether they
they
go
do
for
here.
scrum.
Time off, captain, come with me.
Line out here.
No. In 7 minutes, the game is finished. All the game, it's okay. No, I speak. No, I speak. No, I speak. You and your player speak too much. So we finish with a good positivity. We're good. Okay. Thanks.
Till his last breath, still showing rugby values and respect to the referee.
Time on.
Dirk Dannon, his side that he's led for 6 years now, quite often beaten healthily, but just refuses to give up, and even the dying embers of this game when 62-10 down, still showing that respect to the referee. Kind of players with a fledgling rugby community that you want to get in behind.
Come, 8. Time on.
Similar figure to yourself, though I know you won't want to admit as much, Rachel Taylor. He's been great for the youngsters. They need to repel Georgia here. Chokoidi. Oh, he's at the base of that driving maul. And the variance in which Georgia have played today has been exceptional. And it is trying number 11 for the reigning champs.
It's just clinical, isn't it, from that pack of forwards. It's not easy, you know, to manage those catch drives and get them in the right directions. You know, defences will try and spin you off, splinter you as a collective group, and that front sort of, I think, 4 there for Georgia, just really tight, did all the hard work, just made it nice and easy to go through. But I mean, they've got some size in that pack now, and you know, they're utilising it really well.
Cheeks. Certainly happy with that one.
Slotrecht van Nederlands 10, Georgia 7.
Not surprised. It was very, very gettable. Makes his kicking set 6-7 today from the tee. Some improvement there when they come against
Release now.
some of the more impressive sides, the likes of Spain and in Romania.
Stop. 18, stop. Thanks.
Last 5 minutes here
Yeah, no, okay.
in the Dutch capital. entertaining afternoon of rugby. If you're new to rugby, this Dutch crowd certainly enjoy watching the level of performance from Georgia and just exactly how much work this Dutch program, I should say, needs to do. Dannon. In his last few minutes in the national jersey.
Release now, thanks.
Shola still trying to play rugby on that gain line. Van Oord, T. Campbell. Shola again. It's fizzing around and eventually picked up by Yuri Hop.
Oh, no, it's okay, it's okay. Ah, it's okay, it's okay. It's okay.
Still bubbling.
Yeah, I was just about to say as well from that line out, you know, Dirk Danner there just sent up the middle into a strong Georgian defensive line ready to meet him, but then just, you know, it's probably 10-15 metres behind the gain line every time they're meeting those collisions, and it just makes it so hard for them. You can just see the Dutch scrum half just running out of options, running out of runners, and unfortunately forcing an error.
Well, it's that tiredness, isn't it, physically and mentally, getting towards the end of this game. And yeah, if you are, at all intents and purposes, an amateur outfit, it is going to take its toll in the end. 2 games back to back, you know, they move on from this to Portugal and Russia away, Romania at home. 5 games in 7 weeks. It's a tough ask. It really is a tough ask for where the Dutch rugby finds itself at the moment. But they are beginning to look at some new players. You look at Caleb Korteweg, the young scrum half, now replaced by Hugo Shola with no Radimaka around today. And a few players to bring back in. I think we mentioned in the first half that they will target those games against Russia away and Romania at home, when they've had some more time together, time to build things. Target's probably the wrong word, but they will certainly be a full strength, should we say, for those games. And Georgia showing their strength at scrum time as they whip that ball away. That looks flat at very, very best. And the referee was controlling things nicely. Had a little word with his assistant referee. He said, was it good? Yeah, it's very good. If 3 metres forward is good. And it's worth noting, isn't it? I know we're talking about the side who are losing here, but we know all about Georgian rugby, of course. Played in World Cups, played in 101 Rugby Europe Championship games now, won 82 of them. Got that down to 83 now. For this Dutch side, back in 2008, we ranked 48th in the world. We've cut that difference, and test rank last time I checked was 26th in the world, so about 12 places. They are a team in the ascendancy in terms of those world rankings.
Yeah, number 6 is out here.
So when you get into the change room now, Rachel Taylor, with this Dutch side, what are the words that you would use to console them? Is it an arm around the shoulder? Is it picking out individual points from the game? Is it looking ahead? Is it all of the above?
Yeah, it's potentially going to be a little bit of all of the above, really. I think, you know, you've mentioned it with probably the amount of games these guys are going to have to play in a short amount of time, with a lot of travel, with limited training you know, leading up to it, it will be tough for them. So it's probably about picking the positives for me, the areas where they've managed to compete with Georgia. You know, the fact that they've got some new caps on there today. You know, I think Salman's been excellent and a constant workhorse, and
let's go, please.
probably just trying to move on to what they can do. And you know, you've touched on target in a few games. I think
the ball, please. Good stability. Okay?
they will. You know, not to say that they won't target them. They will. There'll be areas of this championship where they'll want to push on and make wins. But a lot of these losses, there'll be so much learning that'll come out of the opportunities they get. You know, to face a team like Georgia with their experience. You know, those 83 wins, as you've already said. That's huge for them, you know, to come against them, and it just shows how well they've done in the last 2 years to creep up those ranking ladders, because they are learning at the coalface, you know, and they're doing very well with it, with the players that they've got.
Yeah, learning on the hop. Not an easy thing to do against this formidable Georgian side, who have been very impressive, and they look at those half-backs. Lobzanidze, Abzhanidze. Two very,
yeah,
very
they've both really
impressive
injected some
players
pressure today, haven't they?
And one final scrum. Could it end any other way with Georgia?
Yeah,
One final scrum of Georgia showing their physical dominance, Rachel Taylor. The penalty, no, we'll have another scrum, please.
Would have been nice to finish with a penalty for the Netherlands scrum, wouldn't it?
Well, what this crowd want to see, and I suspect lots of the Dutch viewers and players, with Dirk Dannen plucking this ball out of the afternoon sky and running 75 metres down the field for another try. But we live in a reality world.
Time is off. Yeah, you are first.
They've responded well, haven't they, Georgia, after last week's draw? Been really impressed with their variation in attack, physicality and defence, and just how clinical they've been when they've got on the 22. You know, I'd love to know that ratio of how many times they've entered and come away with points. You know, they've done really well there.
You mentioned it very, very early on, is the variance in their play. Often it's like route one, that's where we're coming, and stop us if you can. There's been just real subtle differences about their game today.
Oh, just one player.
Jokoidze tries to take it around that left-hand side, the replacement hooker. Look at the men in orange, though. Moonen with the tackle. Trying to keep Georgia out. One final time, and they do. And fair play to the Dutch. And look who's involved in that tackle. Dirk Dannen alongside Geordie Hop.
And plays the man with the ball, without the ball.
Take a man without the ball, says the referee. Another penalty. Of course, we can't end the game on a penalty.
Your mark.
So we'll have another line-out and a chance for Georgia to get into the 70-point mark. Shola, Geordie Hop, Dannen. Oh, he was a bystander in that one, but he was still there.
Seen two big catch drives, haven't we? Let's see if there's anything different from the Georgians here.
Wait.
Gianni with the take. Jokoidze! Final play, final score. Try number 12. Yeah, replacement hooker. Jokoidze for Georgia, and they respond and bounce back quite superbly. What they would have seen as a poor performance last week, and they draw to Portugal in a cricket score onto the Dutch here in Amsterdam.
Yeah, smart from Georgia, wasn't it? Just taking the learnings from that very last line out, just minutes before the build of that drive, just so much quicker, so organised in their setup. Just nice armchair ride from the hooker there, just all the way in from the back. But they'll want to finish on that. They'll have been frustrated not to have got that score at the end there, so they'll be pleased.
move on, of course, to the next game after a couple of weeks. They get the conversion. Neatly struck indeed. Pakwedzi adds the 2 points. And a fine victory for Georgia. The champions show that they have no intention whatsoever of relinquishing that crown anytime soon, Rachel.
Yeah, exactly the response they'll have wanted, you know, from the players as a coach and staff. Probably a bit surprised and shocked, as I mentioned, from that draw last week, but that's exactly what they'll need to be back on track now. Very physical, strong performance from Georgia.
And we must have a word for the Netherlands. Try and a penalty in the end. Good to get off the board, never last week. And it's that man Dirk Danner who scored their try. And it's certainly very, very easy to see the way the Netherlands want to try and play the game. But just not enough ball at the moment to try and do that.
No, and you can't fault their ambition, can you? They were still trying things. They were still looking at different ways that they could attack and play into their style, rather than probably trying to change it to suit Georgia, if you like. And that's commendable, you know, as a group of players to keep playing, to keep trying to do what you want to do. It's just, as you mentioned, you know, rugby's a collision sport. You've got to win the collision, and when you don't get that, you tend not to get gain line, and that's when it gets tricky. But they'll be really pleased. There were some really nice little touches that they had in that first half period, and they'll be pleased to, like you said, to get a try as well. And, you know, probably no more fitting for man to cross the line on his last game.
So final score here at the National Rugby Stadium in Amsterdam. It is Netherlands 10, Georgia 72. As we look back through some of the highlights of that second half. Six tries in all for Georgia in that second half, and that one little brief moment. Skipper and every player found all jumped in to celebrate with their skipper, but as he knows, there's plenty of work to be done. Georgia number 8, Corner Delahonia, with a couple of tries today. It's impressive, the number 8, as was that man Absanadze, with his forwards up front, set that platform so brilliantly. Gradzi with a couple of tries in the second half. Nice quick hands. And Modi Badzi got a 5-pointer as well. And right at the death, a couple of driving home scores. That latest one, Chukwueze, the replacement hooker. Surprised with the amount of air that Georgia threw the ball around with. As our host broadcaster shows that moment again. Two number 8 scoring really, really good individual scores. But I was surprised the amount of air that Georgia played with the ball. Yes, they're against the Dutch, but the variance and the width in which they play the game, was that a surprise to you, Rachel?
I think it was nice to see, wasn't it? Like, you know, we touched on their draw to Portugal, and teams will see that as a blueprint and how to get close to them, and they'll need to change. I think it's nice to see that today, you know, that they will come against tougher opposition later on in this competition, and it's about building a little bit of confidence in different styles that they can play. And we saw some lovely touches there from the loose forwards, like that whole back row today.
This was your 48th cap. Congratulations. Congratulations on your last game. How did it feel?
Yeah, obviously we are learning, and it's tough for the boys to take a loss like that, obviously. But we, as the Netherlands, we are learning, and we are working really hard every week. We're not there yet at all, but I'm really proud to be here, and obviously my last game, so yeah, amazing feeling. Yeah.
What do you think of the team's performance today?
Yeah, like I say, it's not the performance we want, and the boys are really disappointed. But we are growing as Dutch, as a nation. So yeah, I hope we get the support, and we need more sponsors, we need more help, and yeah, we need to be able to let the boys train more. And then I hope we can compete in the championship, and I'm sure it will happen. But this year is a transition year for us. The next couple months, or the months after, will be we're gonna work hard there, and I'm sure the boys will be hard. I will not be there, but I will be watching on the sideline, obviously.
Thanks, Dad.
Thanks, thank you.
Jack down on there. God, Dutch head.
Head coach Stijn Gardiner, coach of the Netherlands. Congratulations on a very tough game. Unfortunately, it wasn't a win, but what do you think? Are you proud of the boys?
Firstly, happy birthday, Emma. It's a big day for you, so hopefully you have a good evening tonight. Yes, obviously there were parts in that game. Our line-out was a lot better today than it has been in the last two Spanish games, which is good. But it comes down to those little moments in the game, and what Georgia did really well, when we put pressure on them, they were able to punish us and strike from deep, and that really takes the morale down in your team when they're fighting so hard. But then those little errors, those little mistakes, and that just shows the quality of this Georgian team, and it really is big lessons for us in terms of how to manage games and how to win those key battles, and also the key sort of mistakes and stuff that we were making really let them take the advantage, and we need to learn from it and make sure that we keep building in this one. We've got Portugal next.
What can we expect in that game?
I think we've just got to, like I say, the discipline needs to be better. We need to make sure that we're not giving away penalties so that these teams can get easy meters and go to their set piece. Our set piece needs to be strong again so that we can actually play with the ball in hand like we had opportunities today. And then it's about capitalising on the momentum or those opportunities that you get. And that's what we'll work on over the next couple of weeks, is sort of pick ourselves up, look at the tapes, and then make sure that we're making those improvements and getting those gains that we need to put pressure on Portugal and keep the pressure on them.
Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Clearly going to be a good night in Amsterdam. There is the scorecard. Georgia, 12 tries in all, 72-10 against the Netherlands. That one try, Dirk Dannon, and even in final ever interview, he was still talking about the team and measure of the man, an exceptional servant to the Dutch.
What you thought they would do?
Thanks very much. Yeah, I'm proud. We followed our game plan. Our target was 5 points. We took it. I'm happy from today's playing, and we are looking forward to another games.
What can we expect from you in the next game?
Only win. We are playing against Russia. That means we have to win.
All right. Good luck.
Thank you.
Do you hear that?
As Levin Maashvili was saying there, next up for Georgia is Russia. That one on the 27th of February. Up next for the Netherlands is an away game, Portugal on 26th of February.
On your game today. How do you feel?
Well, obviously, the win is always good. I think we managed what we wanted to do, so it's still a long way to go. It's another 3 games left in this championship, and we want to win all those 3 games and be another year champions of this tournament.
What have you learned from this game today?
Well, what we learned is that it doesn't matter who you're playing against. You always need to be prepared, because every time we were relaxed, the boys did an amazing job, and they even managed to score a try, and they were quite physical as well. So every time we were relaxed, they teach us a lesson.
Very good. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations all round. Merab Sherekadze, the Georgian captain, And there is the Dutch captain just going around. Here are the fans. There's a lager beer in hand, and I suspect there will be quite a few of those being sunk today. Well, here are the fixtures for this weekend. Earlier on, that dramatic win for Spain on Russian soil in Sochi, and we've just seen Georgia beating Netherlands, and later on Romania against Portugal. That is 3:20 UTC. Do tune in for that one. And then a couple of weeks break before, as we say, Portugal against Netherlands, Spain against Romania, and Georgia against Russia. But from all of us here, very goodbye.